Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another episode of Riffs and Responses. Now, I was supposed to have this up yesterday. My apologies. I had a very busy weekend and I needed a day to just chill out a little bit. I had a lot of fun with Max and his mom and dad. Shout out to Joe and Gina. On Sunday, we did a live stream with Max. He's an awesome kid, really good guitar player. We spent pretty much the whole day together. They arrived early in the afternoon, and I smoked a really nice pork butt for us all to enjoy. And here's some pictures right here. This is a picture of the pork butt before I wrapped it and let it ride for another couple hours. But I just wanted to show you the amazing bark that I got on this big hunk of meat here. And man, that thing was really good. And I've never seen a kid piled that much meat on his plate before, and he ate most of it. I mean, I'd probably say he ate 90% of it. So that was that was really cool, man. He he took his first bite of it before we cut it all up, and he was like, "Oh my God, this thing's amazing." And so when it came time for him to fill up his plate, man, he definitely made sure he got enough to satisfy him. And like I said, I was surprised. Never seen a kid eat that much. That was really cool to see, and it was kind of funny at the same time. So, but yeah, so if you haven't seen that live stream, it was just last Sunday's live stream, and he's a really good player, and I think he's going to go a long way. I mean, just can't even imagine how good he's going to be in the next couple of years. I mean, by the time he's probably 18, 20 years old, he's going to be amazing. I mean, he's already amazing. So I see a really great future for him. And I got to really give his parents a lot of props for supporting him the way that they have, and encouraged him to play and to turn him on to some really good music and other guitar players to emulate. So great job, Mom and Dad. You guys rule. So if this is your first time watching Riffs and Responses, this is basically where I just pick a piece of gear, I play some riffs on it, maybe a mix or two, and I also read and respond to comments and questions. So let's get started with the first comment, and it is from Sigs5649. He says, "No such thing as old and modern sounding amps. If it sounds good in the mix, it doesn't matter what amp or brand or production year. I have seen people play blues on a 5150 and modern metal on a 2203. This is on my video titled, Are Dual Rectifiers Obsolete?" And I do agree with a lot of what he said there. However, I'll just give you my take on it. When I hear amplifiers that have a real tubby, loose low end and a fizzy top end, I kind of consider that like an older amp tone. You know, the more modern amps nowadays are a lot tighter on the low end, and they took care of that fizz on the top end, and now it's more sculpted, articulate, put together. It's more aggressive. It's got a grainier kind of thing going on there without all the fizz. And I just feel like the gain structure is just a lot more together than it used to be. And anytime I hear fizz, it just takes me back to like the older amp tones. And anytime I hear something really sculpted, like the EVH Stealth, really nice sculpted top end on those amps. Same thing with the Badlander. I mean, you compare the Badlander to a dual rec, I mean, the top end is completely different, and the low end as well. I mean, the low end on the Badlander is a lot more tighter and put together. It's not as gooey and sloppy feeling when you play it. And the top end is just more sculpted, articulate, and there's no fizz in it at all. It's just got that really nice aggressive snap to it that I like. So I hope that kind of clears things up as far as what I consider a modern sounding amp compared to an older sounding amp. So this next question is from Dave Hendricks 671. He said, "Hey Jarrod, can you do an in-the-room sound for amps just for a different perspective?" You know, I've thought about doing that over the last couple of years, and I appreciate the request. I really do. I can try to do that for you. I'll probably have to get like a condenser mic or something like that. I do have a couple of condenser mics around here. I'll see what I can do. You know, I think maybe when I demo amps, maybe I'll just have that as one of the ways that you can hear the amp in that particular video. So that's definitely something I'll work on for you guys, and stay tuned to the channel and I'll see if I can make that work for you. It's really hard because you're dealing with room reflections and stuff like that. This isn't really a treated room, so I guess, you know, regardless, I can see if I can make that work for you. I'll find a good place to put the mic and see if I can make that happen. So I appreciate the suggestion, and I will work on that in the near future. Okay, so this next question is from Painter Dans. He says, great video, Jarrod. What's your #1 amp in your collection? You know, that's a question I get probably several times a week. And it's a good question, because when you're watching YouTube channels, you're always wondering, I wonder what amp he really likes the most, you know? And to be honest with you, it's really hard to pick a favorite, because when I come down here and plug into any one of these amps, I'm always like, why don't I play this more? I mean, I love all of these amps. That's why they're here. Yes, I'm selling a few of them to thin the herd to get some new, you know, fresh meat in here. But I mean, every time I plug into this Blonde Nitro, I'm like blown away. It's freaking amazing. The Diesel Herbert, same thing. And that's just to name 2 of them, you know. And it's just really hard for me to just pick one. So the best I could probably do is just give you my top 5, you know, because these are 5 amps that I'm never going to get rid of. And it's basically the Stealth, the JP, the Diesel Herbert, the Mesobarba, Red 7, and I think tied for 5th would be the Savage, you know. But that doesn't mean that I want to sell the rest of them. I just, like I said, if I got to pick 5, you know, then those would be the ones that I would pick. And that's in no particular order either. I mean, they're all #1 in my book. No brainer, keeper amps, never sell them. And the other ones, if I had to sell them, I would, but it would be a begrudging sale. You know, I just would not want to do it. But I can never pick my favorite amp, because every day I come down here, whatever amp I plug into is absolutely amazing to me. So it's really hard to do that. But hope that helps. So this next comment is from my highly anticipated gear video that I did a few weeks ago. This is from Dahlia576. I think that's how I pronounce it. He says, Fortin has always had issues with controversy surrounding their products. All of them are essentially direct copies of other people's work and claimed as their own. From pedals to full-blown amp designs. The Satan was taken from the Larry, Cali from a Cameron, 33 from the TC Electronics preamp, Zool from the Kerry King Noise Gate. Well, that's an interesting comment. I've heard great things about Fortin over the years, and this is a first for me to hear something like that. I'm not saying you're right. I'm not saying you're wrong. I have no idea. All I know is Mike Fortin has a great reputation in the industry for making really good products. I know that a lot of them are really expensive. You know, but hey, it's one of those things where it's like, get what you can in this industry, and actually in any industry. How much should you charge? As much as you can, as much as people will pay you, because you never know what next year is going to bring. So I totally understand that. Now, I haven't had a lot of experience with a lot of his products. I'm hoping to try a Cali someday, and when the Evil Pumpkin comes out, I definitely want to try that. I don't think I played a 33. Or the Sigil, but yeah, I've just heard really good things about him. Now, I'm not a Mike Fortin, you know, historian or anything like that, so I don't really know too much about him, other than he's just done a lot of great things in the industry. So if there's any Mike Fortin theologians out there that want to, you know, regale me and the rest of the audience with what you know about what this guy was saying here. I mean, feel free to comment in the video and get a conversation started, because I tried to do as much research as I could before I answered this question, and I just didn't see a whole lot about that whole controversy. So I'm not really sure about that. So again, if anybody out there knows about that, feel free to comment about what you know about this, and maybe we can do some more research on it. But again, as far as I know, he's got a really good reputation in the industry, and I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with this comment. I'm just saying this is all I know about it. And, you know, and on that note, like if you, this is just my opinion, but if I was working on a bunch of mods for amps and stuff like that, and pedals and things, I mean, if it was my mod and my design for that mod, for that product, I mean, why shouldn't I be able to take that design that I created and make a pedal or make an amp out of that mod, you know, and just turn it into a full-blown product? You know, I don't see how that's stealing anything or taking from other people and claiming credit for it or whatever, because if it's your mod, well, it's your mod. So unless there's an NDA or something like that signed, I don't see a problem with that. But so if that comment is based on that, you know, like I said, I don't see a problem with someone taking their own work and creating a full-blown product out of it. But again, I don't know all of the backstory with all that, so feel free to comment below about what you know about it, and I'll be happy to engage your comments in the comments section. This next comment is from Cavitation Guitars. He says, I wanted to like the Pedal Baby, but it just had too much coloration for my tastes. I have successfully avoided the power stage stuff. The ISP interested me a time or two, but that power supply always put me off. Well, thanks for commenting, dude. Now, here's the thing. I think that if you're going with, you know, some sort of power amp for your modelers or your profilers or whatever, man, I'm telling you, I've said this 1,000 times on the channel, get a all-tube power amp, because it's just going to warm up the sound and sound and feel a lot better. That's the thing a lot of people don't talk about. How does it feel? And you want something that sounds and feels better. And a lot of times, if you like how something sounds and you play through it, and then you don't like it, and you think, oh, this doesn't sound as good as I thought. No, it just doesn't feel as good as you thought it would feel. And we listen with our hands. So a lot of times that's what happens when we plug into gear that sounds good, and then we start playing it, and then we hate it. It's because we don't like how it feels, and our hands and our ears get confused as to which one doesn't like it. So typically, if that's the situation when you're trying gear out, it's your hands that don't like it, not your ears. And the thing is with solid state stuff, I've found that most of it is anemic sounding, and it just has this weird feel to it. And it sounds kind of cold and anemic, and the feel is just, I don't know, I can't describe the feel. It just doesn't feel right. There's not enough sag or chewiness, that, at least for me. I feel like I'm playing rusty strings a lot of times when I'm playing solid state stuff. Now, there are exceptions to that. You know, the ISP Stealth amplifier I thought was actually pretty good, considering the fact that it's solid state. I haven't tried a Pedal Baby, but what I would tell you to do is reach out to KSR. Kyle over there, he makes an amazing power amp. It's called a PA50. I'm actually talking to him right now about getting one on the show so I can demo it for you guys. And I'm telling you, this thing is absolutely incredible. It's a 50-watt power amp. It's all tube, and it actually has, you know, like the power section stuff on it. It has the, you know, the presence and the resonance, and it also has a negative feedback knob. So if you want to get a little more bite or a little more, you know, softness to the top end, you can adjust that accordingly. And it's lightweight, easy to carry around, it's affordable. It's actually affordable even when you compare it to like a Pedal Baby or some of the other solid state options out there. And again, it's all freaking tube. So it's going to warm up your sound, it's going to sound better, it's going to feel better. There's not going to be that anemic issue and that, you know, that sterile kind of sound you get out of solid state amps. So go to KSR's website and check out the PA50. I really think that you would like it. I've never heard one person say anything bad about it. That is the most highly recommended piece of gear by me and many others for a power amp for your digital stuff. I mean, the thing is you're already using something digital, which, you know, kind of takes a little bit away from that amp tube goodness, you know. So why not pair it with a tube power section to add some of that back in, as opposed to doubling down on the whole solid state digital thing by adding a solid state power amp to it. So man, add some tubes to your tone and bring back some of that warmth and that awesome feel. That's what I would recommend for you. Okay, so this next question is from PAVK6315. Sorry, don't know how to pronounce that. So he says, what are your settings on the gain channel of the MT15? And what effects are you running the lead tone, delay and reverb? Okay, so good question. So here's a picture of the settings of the MT15. So go ahead and try those settings out. I'm sure you'll like them. It's a great amp. It sounds amazing. And as far as the effects I'm using for the lead tone, it's just the flashback 2 pedal. That's all it is. You know, and I really recommend that pedal to you, because it's an amazing pedal. It's like the Harry Potter tent of pedals. As soon as you hook it up to your computer and get into that software, it'll become any kind of delay pedal that you want it to be. And I think it's just an amazing pedal. And I'm actually going to be doing some delay pedal reviews coming up here. One's for IK Multimedia. I can't wait to check that pedal out really soon. So stay tuned to the channel for that. So I hope that helped answer your question, and thanks for the question. All right, so this next question is from Tonex 13, and this is from my last viewer comments video. He says, I personally think Kemper has one of the best interfaces among the digital stuff, but I'd love to hear what you think it needs to have to improve. Well, thanks for your question. I appreciate that. And thanks for watching the video as well. So as far as I'm concerned, I just think the Kemper's whole interface on the unit itself is just outdated. It looks like a Motorola screen. It just looks kind of outdated and cheesy. And the whole, you know, looking for pedals and stuff, the scrolling and all that, it's just a lot of work. I mean, I just think that touch screens are the way to go now. I mean, every day on our iPads, our computers, our phones, everything is touch screen. We're just used to that now. I mean, you even go to the grocery store using a touchscreen in the U-Scan thing, you know? So, I mean, it's just something that we're used to doing. And I just think it just would behoove any company when they're coming out with a digital platform to use a platform that everyone's used to and familiar with. Otherwise, we just feel like we're playing like this, you know, we're messing around with this old antiquated stuff here, and it's just annoying. We're like, why am I scrolling and turning these knobs and, you know, forever to look for that one effect or that pedal or that amp that we're supposed to be using, when we can just scroll and tap and drag and move things around with our fingertips, and it's just a lot easier. It's something that we're more familiar with. So I just think that Kemper needs to do that. In fact, I would say that within the next 5 years that every digital platform is going to have a touchscreen on it. I mean, it just makes sense to me. So that's what I'm talking about. And when it comes to just maneuvering through the Kemper and, you know, like if you want to copy and paste something or move a pedal from here to there or whatever, it's just, you got to do all these steps to make that happen and hold this down and this, you know, it just, like I said, it's antiquated. It's almost, to me, and I don't mean this in an insulting way, but it's almost to me like, you know, if you guys remember the floppy disks on computers, like if you want to change from, you know, Excel to Word, you got to pull out the Excel disk and put in the Word disk and load that in and wait for it. You know what I mean? It's like, why can't I just click on an icon, you know? And it's just annoying to have to do all that stuff. So I just think it's time that Kemper updated their interface. So we'll see what happens when the Kemper 2 comes out. And I'm a firm believer in the fact that it is coming. And this last comment is from Mike DeVos, and Mike's watched the channel for a while and has been in a lot of my live streams, so I appreciate him commenting here. This is from the live stream that I did with Max the other night, and Mike says, "That was some great advice, Jarrod. I really wish when I was this kid's age, I had someone to speak, play, and jam like that. You are great. I really enjoyed that live stream." Well, thanks, Mike. I really appreciate that. So what Mike's referring to is the advice that I gave Max about writing solos. And we had some interesting conversations throughout the day and in the live stream as well. But basically, in a nutshell, what I told Max was, you know, as far as guitar solos are concerned, what you want to do is just concentrate on doing something that makes, you know, people feel something. You know, you want to emote something through your instrument. I mean, this instrument can be the most manipulative instrument out there, and it's up to you how manipulative it is. I mean, you can make somebody feel angry, you can make them feel sad, happy, nostalgic. I mean, there's so many things you could do with this instrument. You can take them to places. I mean, you can play stuff that sounds Celtic. I get that a lot. People are like, yeah, your stuff sounds kind of Celtic. And you can make stuff sound Middle Eastern or just all American or whatever. You can just take people to different countries and emotions and memories and all kinds of stuff with the guitar. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people forget about. They don't think about that. They just want to get the techniques down. And I want to see how fast I can go. And I want to shred. And that stuff's fun. Don't get me wrong. I work on that stuff too. But the goal for me is, and this is what I was telling Max, is to have a blending of the two. The emotion mixed with the technique. And the technique is only there to help you convey that emotion properly. Sometimes you got to build things up and add tension, and that's where that speed comes in. But then there's that melody that has to happen as well, and the carefully chosen notes and the way that you design your solos and go from one segment to the next and tie all that stuff together. I mean, writing an amazing solo takes a lot of work, but once you're done, it just sounds amazing. And it's like I was telling Max, like, if you were on stage in a you know, like a shredding contest with like 5 other guitar players, and you got this panel of judges in front of you, and everybody's up there just shredding their asses off and playing 8 billion notes per minute, and it's all very impressive, but you went up there and did something that made that whole judge panel like have tears coming out of their eyes or feel something. Who do you think's going to win that contest? Well, obviously you are, because you reached inside of these people and made them feel a certain way and brought that emotion out of them. And that, to me, is where true talent lies. I mean, because talent, it doesn't just consist of ability to do something. Talent also, especially as musicians and creative people, it consists of not only the ability to play things, but the ability to create an emotional situation between you and the listener. And that's really where it comes from. So I just think all the guitar players out there, if you're struggling with you know, technique, and you just feel like, man, I just can't be as fast as this guy or that guy, play to your strengths, and we all have an emotional side to us, and try to bring that out. I think that is the best thing that you can do as a guitar player, is try to make sure that you're playing in such a way that you're playing beautiful melodies and lines, and like make those statements in your solos, as opposed to, look at me, look what I could do, look at how fast I am. Because after a while, as a guitar player who appreciates, you know, technique, if I go to a concert and I hear a guy shredding his ass off on the guitar and that's all he does all night, after 3 songs, I'm literally bored. I'm like, I can leave right now. I've already heard everything he can do, and it's impressive. But I mean, he's not talking to me. He's not speaking to me, and he's not making me feel anything. So I don't really care. You know, it's like, it's all about him. He's up on the stage just glorifying himself and saying, look what I can do. It's just a big show-off thing. And that's why John Petrucci is one of my favorite guitar players, because he has this perfect balance of speed, technique, but also melody and emotion and stuff like that. I mean, if you listen to Barstool Warrior and listen to that guitar solo, oh, it's just absolutely stunningly beautiful. And there's some speedy stuff going on there and some techniques, but it's just he serves the song, but he does it in a way where there's this perfect blend of melody, emotion, tension, and technical abilities that brings it all together. And he never forgets about the fact that he has to serve the song and like, what's this song about? You know, how do I approach my guitar solo? And it's not really my moment to shine. It's my moment to make the song shine. We have to take ourselves out of the equation and put the song first. And if the song is amazing, then, you know, indirectly, some of that credit falls on us as artists. So that's really what we want. So I think that that's probably the best advice I can give anybody out there who's struggling to write solos or wanting a new perspective on that. If you take that perspective and put that into even your complete songwriting, but your solos as well, I just think you're going to be a much better and more successful musician, and people are going to like your stuff a lot more. Well, thanks for watching. I really appreciate you guys hanging with me, and I hope you enjoyed the riffs and mixes in this video. By the way, what you heard in this video was my Tonex capture of the Ingle Savage, and that is available for purchase on my website. So if you like that, just click the link below and go to my website and go ahead and get that for your Tonex pedal, and I know you're going to like it. I've sold a lot of those profiles to people in the last few weeks, and I'm really hearing a lot of great feedback on them. And I want to thank everybody who has been purchasing all of the captures and profiles and presets and all the stuff I have on my website. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I want to also thank all my Patreon supporters and subscribers. I really appreciate you guys as well. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and click the bell so that you can be notified every time I either go live or come out with new episodes. Well, I got a lot more stuff coming up for you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.